Hello and welcome. I'm Ashbourne and you're watching Edison TV, where we like to think we have our fingers on the pulse. This next company has just come out with an announcement only this morning that it's expecting approval of its EIA, its Environmental Impact Assessment, as early as next month at Macacha, its project in Argentina. It's also applying for extra ground around that project, and it's going ahead with a listing in Oslo on the Euronext Growth Oslo exchange. The company, of course, is Ajax Resources, and we thought there's so much news with this company, who better to answer it than the company's CEO? So it's a very great pleasure for me to welcome to the studio Ippolito Cattaneo, the company's chief executive, who's joining us today. Ippolito, thank you very much for joining us.
Very good to see you, Charlie.
Where should we start?
Well, there's so much to talk about, as you said. Let's start with Macacha. I think that's a very topical theme today with our announcements. So we announced that the EIA approval, which of course is not in our hands, is in the hands of local authorities, should be, we hope, approved during the course of next month. And on the back of that EIA approval, which is for a project that hasn't seen activity in 20 years, so there's been quite a lot of work done, very comprehensive technical, environmental, and community relations EIA package, should we say, that will, we hope and we're told, will be approved during the course of next month. So as soon as that's approved, we will start a 5,000 meter drill campaign, which, as you know, will be targeting the existing resource, which is a copper oxide resource, drilled by 20 years ago it was drilled, and the resource was published by Alexander Mining PLC. They invested more than $20 million into the project and defined the resource. And then we'll also be targeting the deeper sulfide mineralization, which has not been a subject of drilling activities and is not included in that mineral resource estimate, that historical mineral resource estimate we have. So the goal will be a very, probably one of the most seminal moments in our company's evolution, because we focus on acquiring projects that have high historical investment and which, for whatever reason, be it past metal pricing, political and financial turbulence in 20 years ago, project turbulence, because some projects work at some points in history and then they don't work for other reasons later on. South has had an extraordinary evolution in its mining activities from 2008 to today. South is a thriving mining province, and so mining is very much more understood and liked, which is really why this project now, other than the copper pricing and the silver pricing increasing, is one of the reasons this project will now, we believe, work. And so we look forward to starting this campaign and coming back to the market with a JORC compliant mineral resource estimate, which will, we hope and expect, be many times larger than the existing historical resource.
Do you think we can put a timeline on that?
So it's good you mentioned that, because we were initially planning on using one rig. But because timing, especially for a listed company, is very important, we will most likely be using two rigs. We have very good relations with local drilling companies, one in particular. We are running a tender exercise because, of course, we need to be as transparent and commercially open-minded as possible, because we can't always go to one supplier. We have to find out from the market what the best rate is and what the best the prices and the early parameters that will be analyzing. Quality and technical competence and execution is important. So we expect within, well, I don't want to give a timeline that will then come to haunt me, but I think that, let's put it this way, as quickly as possible, we will drill those 5,000 meters, and certainly well before the end of the year. And we will soon be announcing the engagement of an MRE, CP, a competent person. So that will be the next step, and then we'll have everything lined up and ready to go. So upon EIA approval, the announcement will be put out. Drilling has commenced. Right, that's the next announcement we expect from Macacha. And the significance of expanding the license area is also not to be understated, because we want to capture as much resource or potential resource as possible. And in fact, there may be other news on that front in due course, because there are other areas, other licenses nearby. Alexander Mining had a very large portfolio back in 2006, the early 2000s. So they've done a very good job. And of course, there were other reasons why things didn't work out perhaps as they would have liked. But here we are today. capitalizing on past work and ensuring we learn from past mistakes committed by other people, and do despite being a young company, we're humble, but we learn from history.
So a little bit of investment and hopefully a lot of return.
That's the goal, and statistically, we think it will work. We hope to have 100% success, but the beauty of our portfolio is that we have exposure across 3 different countries now, and projects which have different stages of development. But the common denominator across all the projects is that they have high historical investment and typically have an existing historical resource, right? So we've got Pereira Velho in Brazil, which doesn't have a resource but has a non-compliant Appian estimate, right, in-house 110,000 ounces. So we're running the final, I often say this, we're running the final stretch of a marathon, and capitalizing on a lot of good work that's been done by our predecessors, and delivering, we hope, during a unprecedented metal pricing environment, right? Because gold, it's come down a bit, but it's never been higher. And copper and silver, which are other key metals of ours, have also a similar pricing trajectory. So we're very confident about what we're doing. We also feel that we've chosen the right countries at the right time. We're operating in democracies. Brazil, Chile, and Argentina are strong, functioning democracies. And so we're very happy with our focus, and we think that South America will have a lot to offer over the coming years.
And Reveille?
Very good fundraise, a lot of good market support. It's a uranium story. It's the two projects that are really underpinning this IPO are projects that I discovered in 2024 that I came across, and I wanted to put them into Ajax, but Ajax didn't have a history of any kind of mining activity anywhere in the world, really, because it was prior to our Aquis admission and our Ajax becoming an Ajax Resources investment company with the first transaction we announced in 2025. So a wonderful opportunity, 2 fully built underground uranium mines, which have more than hundreds of millions of what today euro equivalent of investment.
Not lira.
Not lira, yeah. I had to do the conversion there. But enormous amount of work done by ENI in the 60s and 70s and early 80s. Italy's largest uranium resource, one of the most interesting uranium deposits in Europe. We're at a time of heightened geopolitical tension in the world, especially with energy supply and energy autonomy. And I think, again, we've been quite lucky with the timing, because Italy has had a very, shall we say, difficult relationship with nuclear energy. We shouldn't conflate nuclear energy or uranium exploration, but they are one and the same, often in public discourse. And Italy, after Chernobyl, really abandoned nuclear energy definitively. Whereas now, a couple of weeks ago, and this is this is all over the news, Italy has finally now announced, its own government has announced that nuclear energy is on its way back, right, by way of small modular reactors. So we feel that, of course, there's no direct connection between Italy embracing nuclear energy and the uranium applications that we have, because we are going through the final permitting to get those 2 licenses released or granted by the competent authorities in Italy. But it, of course, is very helpful to have as a backdrop to have a nation that is now embracing nuclear energy for the first time in its post-war history in such a definitive manner. So we're very pleased, and we look forward to for Reveille for those 2 licenses to be granted. The EIAs one has been submitted and one will be submitted in July. This has all been publicly announced, so we can talk about it very freely. And upon granting, we feel that story will be one of the most interesting uranium stories, definitely in Europe, but even worldwide, because there are very few comparables. So that is something we're very excited about.
And your interest in the company?
My interest, I'm
Ajax's interest.
I have 2 interests. I like Ajax. I'm not the largest shareholder. I'm the founder of Reveille. And I put a bit of my money into it because I always believe in what I do. And Ajax will be the 2nd largest shareholder in Reveille. The first shareholder, the largest shareholder, will be Zenith, because the project was incubated via a Zenith subsidiary. But I do take ownership of it somewhat, because I'm the one who sourced the opportunity, and it was meant to go through Ajax, but then there were a series of considerations that were very valid that meant that we chose to go through and partner with Zenith on this deal. So basically, this company has 2, one larger, well-known listed company, Zenith Energy, main market listed company, and now Ajax, Aquis listed business, backing it as founding cornerstone shareholders. So we feel that's been a good foundation. It's been the fundraiser has been very well supported. Uranium prices, as you know, have done very well. So again, we're very excited about that, and we see it as a significant value catalyst for Ajax.
And just finally, I must ask you about the Oslo, the Euronext Growth Oslo listing. Going ahead, you said this summer.
Yeah.
Just tell us a little bit about the background, the thinking, the strategy, what you're hoping to get from it.
So Aquis has been a very good listing. We feel the market has been wonderful. We can only speak highly of Aquis. The liquidity has been good. We've been one of the most liquid stocks on Aquis. I think there's only one company that beats us on Aquis, but hats off to them. They've done exceptionally well, and they're very inspiring. I shan't name them, but your viewers will probably know who I'm talking about. But it's been a very good journey, and for that reason, we want to increase our liquidity further. We've got an insatiable appetite for liquidity. So why are we listing on the Euronext? Well, the Euronext Oslo gives us access to the whole Euronext family in Europe, right? So Lisbon, Paris, Milan. A number of European exchanges. There's a lot of appetite for mining in Europe. In Oslo, there are very few companies like us. There are very few mining or natural resource companies such as Ajax. And also, there's a lot of money in Oslo. It's a very rich country. The recent spike in oil prices has made an already a very rich nation even wealthier. So there's a lot of retail funding there. And we want our story to be appreciated and heard and invested in as much as possible. So we feel that the Euronext Oslo is a great place to be, and so we're looking forward to our IPO, which as announced we expect be this summer. It may be sooner than people think, but news will follow on that, and it will depend on the final regulatory approvals. We're always at the mercy of the regulators, and rightly so. So we're looking forward. We've got a lot of value catalysts. We've got the Macacha drilling, which will be starting in July. We've got the Oslo listing, or the Reveille listing. We've got the Pereira Velho project, which we're now going to be, in the next couple of months, we'll be announcing our plans there. We're going to start drilling that this summer, most likely as well. Where we're going to be applying for our environmental permits and then getting our drilling program underway. And we've got a couple of other deals we're looking at with some of our new major shareholders, which I can't go too much into, but we've got a lot of news flow. So really, it's been a bit depressing seeing our share price decline over the past few weeks. We've had a bit of, there's been perhaps we in the background there's been so much going on, but we haven't been able to communicate the news flow until we've really achieved the milestones. But we've seen an uptick maybe in the lead up to arriving to meet today. People knew that we were going to be here. You would be interviewing me. So there's a lot to be optimistic and confident about in the Ajax family, shall we say.
Ippolito, thank you very much indeed. I'm afraid that's all we've got time for. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Ippolito Cattaneo, the Chief Executive of Ajax Resources. Do take a look at them for a couple of reasons. One is the shares are up today about 10%, and the rest of the market is, well, not quite down 10%, but is very definitively down, I can tell you. So that should tell you something alone. Have a look at our last report as well. The shares trading, well, just under 6p at the moment, and we reckon a conservative valuation would be 9p, and a top of the range valuation would be about 46. So maybe somewhere in the middle, 25 seems about fair. We'll be bringing you more such opportunities in the very near future, we hope. But until then, you have a capital day.